this. We've learnt what our layout of our documents are, and now we're just going to work with this. Remember to make sure you understand the structure of your database at the beginning. What you'll notice, it says write in a query to display the assignment name and due date of all assignments from the formal logic course. So what we need to do is first in our head, take your time, make sure you understand it. So it's saying there it wants to know all assignments from the formal logic course, and it's asking me to display the assignment name and the due date. So we'll go select. Now in this case we've been specifically asked for what it wants to display. It will not always do that. When it's asking that, if it doesn't ask, you would just need to logically think, okay, what would I want to display? In this case we want assignment underscore name, and we want the due date, so due underscore date from, and then the table that we want to work with is it's just called assignments. Now when we do this, so from the assignments, we now have a condition where the course is equal to, now we put it in inverted commas because it's a string. We are saying the condition is where course is equal. We put it in inverted commas because it is string. I use single inverted commas just to distinguish between Java string and SQL string, because it will help you later on when you're coding between the two. Now, so it's a formal logic inverted commas. Now if I run this, you'll notice there that when I run this, it will then pick up the different formal logic assignment names and what due date they've got. So that's correct. It's very important that you remember to copy and paste this into your answers. I'm just going to put there as this being the memo. Now this is worth, I don't think it's worth many marks, so it's not that difficult, this question, but it is worth 3 marks. So it's actually quite a lot of marks assigned to it. So selecting the correct fields would be worth a mark, from the correct table would be worth a mark, and then course equals formal logic would be worth a mark. So that's where the 3 marks would be allocated to. The next question, question 2, asks there, write a query to display the overall average of the submissions marked, and you'll see that's 70.9 is the example output. Realize that sometimes it might not be displayed exactly like it does in here, so I want you not to get too used to this. These are just guidelines. Anyway, all rounded off to 1 decimal places, all submissions marked. Okay, so we want to get the average mark of all submission marked, and that's over here. So we're looking at the submissions mark table. So we're wanting to select, so we're just going to say AVG is our average calculation, and we can say the mark, which is mark, and we now say from the table submissions underscore marks. Now you'll notice that this will work, but it doesn't round it off to 1 decimal place, and it hasn't given it a name. So I can just check it first. This is the way I like to code. I sort of get it up, and then I sort of go into the more detail of the question. So now it says you must make sure you go back. This field should be rounded up to 1 decimal place and named average submissions. So it should be rounded. So we go round. So we enclose the average mark, and it should be 1 decimal place. So we say comma 1. So round, you send through as the parameter the average mark. Then you say comma, the second parameter you're going to send through is 1. And then now you want to name it something, so we say as, and it should be named average mark. Okay, so now we'll go here and we'll say as average mark. So now if we run this, average mark, it's called that. I'll get 70.2. You'll see that it says 7.9, 70.9. As I said, do not look at the example data versus this. Maybe there was a field deleted at some stage that has got that. My calculation is correct. This is just a guideline that has got there what should be displayed. Okay, so SQL, copy across to your actual answer document, paste it in here. Again, this is now worth, if we look at the number of marks, this is worth 4 marks. It's quite high actually. So I think there will be a mark allocated to the fact that it's sorry, I'm getting you guys dizzy there, I'm getting myself dizzy. So there'll be a mark for the fact that you've done an average, a mark for the fact that you rounded to 1. So if you rounded it to 1, that you named it as another mark, and then you just did the from the correct table as the 4th mark. So there's 4 marks allocated there. It's quite heavy on the marks scale. I think there was a bit of an easier question than that, but bonus marks there really. Alright, so the next question asks us, write a query to display all assignments in descending order by due date. Okay, so this is also, so it wants to display all assignments, so select star meaning all, from assignments order by due date. Let me just read the question to make sure I've answered it correctly. Write a query to display all assignments ordered by due date. An example of the output is below. I run this. Cool. So I go back to SQL view, copy the SQL across to my assignment answers. I then go through to my question and I take a look at how many marks. There's 3 marks allocated to this. So the fact that you select star from assignments would be, this is again very, very lenient mark weighting. I would have actually only made this worth 2 this time. I know I set this one as well, but I should have only made this worth 2. I would have normally done that 2, but in this case it's worth 3, so the third would just be the fact that you just played all. The next question, question 4, it says Sam Johnson has fallen pregnant and has continued her studies at a later date. Write a query to delete her from the database. Now it's very important when you're deleting and you want to only delete an individual item. You don't want to delete multiple. You want to delete specifically a individual. You need to make sure you delete using the primary key. So we're wanting to delete where is it now? Sam Johnson. Okay, so let's take a look for Sam Johnson. Delete her from the database. Okay, so it's under students. So we're looking for Sam Johnson, and Sam Johnson is number 7. Her student number is number 7. So we would say delete. Now, when it goes to fields, you can put star there, which means delete all fields, or you can just leave it blank. I would suggest actually just leaving it blank, showing the fact that we're deleting a whole record. So I'm going to say delete from TBL, sorry, it's not table, it's just called students, where, and we're going to then say student number underscore number is equal to 7. Now when you run this, it should say that you're about to delete one record. Are you sure? I'm not going to go yes, I'm just going to say no, but if it comes up with a message, it means it's successfully trying to delete something. So we're happy with that. We're now going to have to get in here. This is now worth, if we look at the mark allocations, a delete is worth 2 marks. So delete from students is worth 1 mark. The fact that we use our primary key to delete it and to refer to an individual person is worth the 2nd mark. So there we've got 2 marks that are allocated to question 4. Question 5 indicates write a query to display all students whose last name starts with Mac. Now the fact that it's doing a start with Mac means that it's a like, because it's only a section of the string that we're doing. So a like is where we can compare something as similar. So we're just going to say here display all students. It doesn't mention which fields here. You see it says there display all students. It doesn't mention me which fields. So I'm quite happy to display all. So I would just run a select star from students where, now this is where the slight difference comes in here, as we say last name, instead of saying equals to, now if you want to make it exactly, you should use equals to, do not use like. You will get deducted a mark if you use like, if you want it to be exactly the same. Like is only if it's got something similar in it, or contents within it. So you'll just say where last name is like. Now we want it to start with a Mac, so we say Mac, probably with a capital Mac, star, so we're saying must begin with a Mac, but then anything can go after it, and you then close the inverted commas and you run it. And you should see you then have Macmillan and Hamish, sorry, Sarah and Hamish. So Macmillan and MacArthur. So we go back to SQL statement, we're happy with that. We can then go back to the answer sheet, we paste it in there. This is worth 3 marks. So I would allocate 1 for the fact that you used the star at the end of the Mac, 2 that you allocated mark, and then another 1 there. So it'll be worth 3 marks there for question 5, and that's where the allocation of the marks would go to. So remember, even if you can't complete the full query, don't forget to just get some of it up there, because even just by selecting the star from it, you would get marks for it. So if you can't get the query working, doesn't mean you get 0. So don't not paste it through because you can't get the query working. It's not full marks and no marks. There are marks for other stuff in there as well. Alright, so then it says write a query, next one, write a query to display a combined first name and last name separated by a space. Okay, so that's quite easy. We're using the same field there, so I'm just going to delete that. And it says first name and last name. So we say first underscore name. Now we want to append a space to it. So appending is actually very easy. We just go ampersand. We then want a space to be appended. We then want the last underscore name. So now when I run that, you'll see there's all the ones. I don't know if it asks. I go back to the question, make sure it doesn't ask me anything fancy. It doesn't ask me to rename it anything. That's a very easy 3 marks. So I just go back to my SQL. I copy and paste this through to my answer document. Now, with this being 3 marks, there's obviously a lot of weighting to things. So 1 would be a mark for the fact that you used ampersand, and the fact that you added a space in there would be another one, and the fact that you got it from the correct table would be worth another one. So we've got 3 marks there. I would even potentially have worded this first one that you actually did include that, depending on it. It could have been allocated anyway. But that would be up to your guy who created your test, which was me, but I don't remember where I allocated it in this case, so whatever. Wherever it was allocated, it would be allocated. The next question, question 7, write a query that will randomly pick 3 marked submissions to be moderated. Hence, data would need to be sorted by a filtered data based on a random number. A mark will be awarded if you're using a qualifier to ensure true random. Now, I did mention the reason why you need to use a qualifier. I showed you that if you just say random, all of them would be generated with the exact same random number. And you always use the qualifier you always use when creating a random is the unique identifier of that field to make sure every single individual will get a unique random number. So in this case, we're going to say select. What fields does it ask me to display? It doesn't. It just says randomly 3 marked submissions. So I'm going to say select star, so I can display anything, so it doesn't tell me what I should display from submissions. Now I could order by, and then I can just say random. And now to do a random according to a unique identifier, you would work with submission ID. Now with that random submission ID, and I run this will just return me in a random order. So every time I run it, you'll see there now submission ID 7 is first. The next time I run it, submission ID 5 is first. So you see it is random ordering it. But it's asking me to only display 3. So to only display 3, you just say top 3, select star, and then when I run it, you'll see it'll only then display to me 3 people. So every single time I run this, it'll only display 3 random people that are there. So a mark will be awarded for true random. Remember, output will vary. So I used it from the wrong table, because it says there pick 3 random marked submissions, and I selected it from. So just be careful of things like that. I would have lost marks because of me just not reading the question. So it says a marked submission, so I shouldn't be getting it from the submissions table. I should be getting it from the submissions underscore marks table. And then if I run that, now there's no submission ID, I should now use mark ID. And then now when I run this, that looks better. That's more like what we got there. So now it is correct. Copy. So just double check your answers before you, if you have time anyway. If you don't have time, don't. Okay, I'm just going to put this on a new page so we don't can see it all here. So now the marks allocated to this question were 5. It's quite also steep marking on this. So top 3 would get you a mark. You display all fields from there would get you a mark. You ordered it by would get you a mark. The fact that you did a random would get you a mark, and the fact that you qualified it would get you a mark. So then there's 5 marks allocated there. Again, I might have not. I would have probably on second thought I would have made this worth 4 marks, but it was worth 5 marks, so you would get those 5 marks. Alright, now the next question 8. Okay, this is question 8 here. It doesn't actually mention a query question number there, so I know a lot of you actually put it under question 11 because there was a question 11 in the answer document, but there was no question 11 there. So I'm happy for you to put it as question 11. I'm okay with that. Now, write a query to provide the average mark given by each marker. The average marks should be rounded off to 0 decimal places. Give the field name. So it's got the marker and the average mark from that marker. So what we're doing here is we're doing the same as what we were doing earlier. We are saying select average, and we're saying mark. So what I could even do is I could copy and paste an earlier question to this, because we did already ask that, from submissions underscore marks. Now this would give me the overall average, but I don't want just the overall average. I want the marker and the average. It also told me that I wanted it to round it off to 0 decimal places, so you enclose it in round. And it also, so I've got the marker, but now because I've got an aggregate function, this will not work. If I run it, it says your query does not specify a marker as part of an aggregate function. Average is an aggregate function, meaning it squishes it all together, so it gets the average of every single record. But now if I'm squishing them all together, I can't squish the marker. I haven't told the computer how to squish the marker. It's just like, huh? So what you do is you're saying, I want you to group by, which means if I now do this, but group by marker, I'm squishing all of the same values for marker together into one. And now when I run this, you'll see the syntax error. Okay, so now we've got to troubleshoot here. Group by marker. It looks right. I'm actually trying to figure out why it's not syntax from clause. Maybe group by is one word, not 2 words. I don't think so. I think it's one. Nope. Marker. Okay, now it's later on. What I would maybe do is just this to begin with. Make sure we get the step by step. So average 70. That's fine. It's got the same as what we were talking about. Let me just try now without the average. So there's something differently with this group by. Marker is definitely marker. Huh. Okay, that's odd. So now when I ran it like this, it was fine. On here, no problem. So it means that maybe you guys in the it works now. I don't see actually what I did different. Probably when I'm watching the video again, or when you guys watch the video, you'll see what I did wrong the first time. I actually have no idea what I did wrong the first time. So sometimes it just helps to delete it, start again, and you've got it. Okay, so that's question 8 answered. The number of marks that question 8 was for was 5. These ones aren't given, but I'll indicate marks to them just now. So 5 marks given for this. So the fact that you display marker will be given a mark. Oops, I can't get marks here. This should be inside. I've already done it here. Okay, so the fact that you displayed the marker would be worth a mark. Because if you group by something, you should always display it. Otherwise, if I just have 77 and 65, who's got 77, who's got 65, what's the difference? You group by and marker, 5 marks for this. I'll give maybe a mark for the fact that you did average, a mark for the fact that you did round. Would be a mark there, so that's 5 marks allocated. Cool. Question 9. So now we go to question 9. Question 9 is question 8 in here. So student 2 has been granted a resubmission. He has submitted this on the date. So write a query to update the submission. So we go to our submissions document. I'm just going to maximize it for now. And student 2 for assignment 3. So student 2 for assignment 3, so you see that's ID 14. Remember, when you're doing updates as well, if you only want to update one record, you do that. You can do an AND condition here, so where student FK is equal to 2 and assignment FK is equal to 3. You can do that. Or you could update using the 14. To show the AND, I'm going to do it the other way. So I'm going to say here, update submissions set date underscore submitted. Now when we're dealing with dates here, it's the 2014-07-20. We put hashtag around it because we are dealing with so 2014-07-20. So we've got a hashtag to indicate that it is a date that we're working with. I don't know if dashes will work, so I normally work with forward slashes for dates. If it doesn't work, you just try another one. So I'm just saying set that to that. Now where we now want to say where the student underscore FK is equal to 2. Now we also want to do AND assignment underscore FK. Hello, Craig speaking. Yes, he is. Okay. Okay, sure, shall do. Okay, thank you. Yes, that's perfect. I'll send him up. Cool, thank you. Bye. They're asking. I'll speak to you just now. Sorry. Sorry about the interruption. I'm live streaming this, but anyway. Yeah. The next one is Simon FK is equal to 3. So you see, I've based it on 2 conditions. I could have also just said where submission ID is equal to 14. Not now, but we can go speak to them if you want, but it's during the second lesson now, once up there, which is when you're free anyway. That's when you pop your head in. Alright, so we've got that now. If we're going to copy this through, you'll see there that if I paste this in here, well, I suppose I should test it first to show you that it does work. So if I run it, okay, that didn't work. And the reason why is date submitted is probably wrong. So date, I've got 3 T's there. So date submitted should be 2 T's. So always run your thing, even if you think, okay, so you're about to update 1 row. That's correct. That's what we expect to see. So go to my answer sheet, which I've lost here. Okay, I just deleted a T there. Alright, and now the marks that this would be worth, I would say update submission set to be that. I would give a mark for the fact that you included hashtags, the submission set, that you knew the syntax of that. There would be a mark allocated then for the fact that you used either that you used the primary key or that you used AND. So I would have given a mark for the fact that you used both, or the fact that you just did a condition. So it would have been 2 marks for the fact that you used the primary key and 1 up there. So it could be worth 4 marks. It could be worth also a bit less. Alright, the university needs to set up all the assignments of 2015, create an insert statement that will copy all the assignments from 2014 and change the date by 1 year. This one's quite an interesting one. So you'll see there that now if I want to create this, it's now saying I want to insert, I want to create new entries into assignments. So I'm inserting into assignments values. Now I don't even actually think you need to do values if I remember correctly. We actually want to do select. So I'm going to now put it in brackets select. Now assignment ID is an order number. If you look at the thing there, so we don't need to put there, but we do need assignment name. So we want to say assignment. Now remember, you have to put the fields here as well. So assignment underscore name. I just forgot the syntax there for a second. Course, comma, due underscore date. Select assignments, comma, underscore name, sorry, comma, course. Now the due date we want to manipulate. We don't want it to be that there, so we want to add a year to it. So it's exactly a year after, change due date by 1 year. So what I can say is I can say course, I don't even know what I'm doing here, but I'm going to try. So I say due underscore date plus 365.25. I don't know if it's 364.25 or 365.25. Guys, is it 365.25 days or 364.25 days? Thank you. Yeah, 365.25. And that might work. What you can do, for example, I'm a bit unsure of this, so to check myself, what I would do is I would go select now, so today's date plus 365.25. So if I run this now, whoa, okay, so it displays it as that. Okay, so let's just try to see if we can get it as a date. I don't know if that's going to work, but let's just try. No, it doesn't work. Yeah. But the now function looks like it does actually return a value, which I'm assuming is what we were looking for. So let's try this, see what happens. So if I run this, insert error in insert statement, and it's going through here. So it might need the whole values thing. Insert into assignment name, course, due date. Okay, so now we need a problem solve. We got the assignment name. Very bad. It's from this is from assignments as well. Okay, so I've got a select statement inside there. Let's just see what's happening here now. Assignment name. insert into statement. Yeah. Okay, so it looks like come in. Good day. Sure.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so what we've got here is this query looks like the select statement is running correctly, but we need to try to figure out what's happening with our insert into statement. So insert into is not working. I've forgotten the syntax for doing an insert into using a select. Course, comma, due underscore date. Okay, there we go. I don't know what I did differently, but in the video hopefully you'll pick it up. But it says you're about to append 4 rows. So I'm going to go yes here, and I'm going to take a look at what it is. I'm going to close my assignments, and I'm going to open up my assignments again, and you'll see here, yeah, 2015. 0322, so it has increased it all by a year. It does include the time in it because it's a full date that has been included in there, but that's fine. It's a fully correct question. So it has worked. We are completely happy with that. So I'm just going to minimize this so we can get it. So that does work. I don't know what I did differently, but sometimes it's just a matter of going through it, trying it again, and working over it. I'm sure in the video you guys will be able to pick up what I did wrong. Alright, now insert into, if you can't, yeah. Alright, so now here we're inserting into, we've got the correct field names, the fact that we knew that we needed to do a select within this. The plus 365.25 is quite a big thing, so that'll be worth a mark. I would even think this might even be worth 5 marks. I might be giving it another mark elsewhere for the fact that you worked with that. But I think 4 marks is also, it could be worth 4, but it could be worth 5 marks, that question there. Alright, so next question, question 10, or 9 in this case, but this one was not good. A university needs to, so this is not question 8, let me actually make this properly. There we go. And now it'll be the same as what my spreadsheet is giving, my Word document. So question 10, a university needs to set up all assignments for 2015. Okay, I've done that. Write a query to display the assignment name and student number who have submitted work more than 3 days late after due date. Okay, so this is quite a bit of date manipulation. This. So we want to find out all those who submitted their students. So we're actually working with 2 tables. So for one, it's asking me there, what fields is it asking me? Display the assignment name and the student number. So I want the assignment name. So select what fields we want. We want the assignment name, and we want the student number. So student, if we look at the submissions, the student FK is fine. We don't need to submit student number. Student FK is the student number. If you wanted to display student number, you could, but why? Yeah, literally the student FK refers to the student number, so I'm okay with that. So that's already a mark. So even if you don't know how to solve this, get the mark of actually what you display. So now the next question it asks here is, it says there that the university needs, okay, so it says who have submitted work more than 3 hours late. So from now here we're getting it from 2 different tables. We're getting it from submissions and from assignments, because we need to find the date that it's late. So we now need to link them. So to link them, we just say how do they link? If we look at them, submissions, assignment FK links to assignment ID. So we're saying there where submissions dot assignment underscore FK is equal to assignments dot assignment underscore ID. And then when we've done that, we now need, so it's been linked together, and we want to find out also, and we now find out that the due date and submission date, the difference is less than 3 days. Now what I would suggest you do is I would actually first find out how, so I've just cut that off for now. I'm going to first find out, I'm going to say select actually let me undo what I did there. let me leave this here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to find out first what the difference is. I'm going to go and say date underscore submitted. I'm going to subtract due date. So I'm just going to see what a subtraction does here. So all I'm doing is I'm just creating a field that I'm taking the date submitted minus the due date, and I'm just going to see what that returns me. So if I run this, it returns me 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I take a look at let's look at the second one. So here, the submissions for number 2 was, he submitted on 2014-03-23, and the due date for assignment 1 was 04-22. So he submitted 1 day late. So it's a positive value when it's late. So now I can determine if it's a positive value or a negative value. So I can then say, and so if I do this, what I've done here is where I've said due date minus submission date is greater than, it says, does it say 3 or more days late, or does it just say 3 days late? So we read the question, it says there 3 or more days late, so where is greater than or equal to, I can put this in brackets to make sure it happens in the correct order, it should do, but just rather double check, is greater than or equal to 3. So now it should only display ones that are greater than or equal to 3. So now I can get rid of it. It didn't ask me to display this. I was just displaying it to check what I was doing, so I'm going to delete that now. And now it will display to me the assignment name and the pupil who submitted me assignments for 3 or more days later. So I'm going to copy that across to my answer document, Control V. Again, this will probably be worth, a mark will be allocated for displaying the correct data, a mark for the fact that you're working with 2 fields, the fact that you've linked them, that you've read a second condition, that you subtracted the date that was greater than or equal to 3. So there'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a 6-mark question. This is a bit more of a challenging question. That's all of them answered. Goodbye.